Today's Respect Perspective. I want to share a reflection on leadership development and a pattern that many organizations unintentionally create. Many organizations believe they are struggling to find strong leaders. But sometimes the real challenge isn't finding leaders at all. Sometimes the leader an organization is searching for may already be part of the team, simply waiting to be developed. Many organizations say they struggle to find strong leaders. They review resumes, they conduct interviews, they search for the perfect candidate. And this process can repeat again and again. But what if the leader you're looking for already works for you? What if the real challenge isn't finding the right person, but rather developing the leadership potential that already exists within your organization? Research consistently shows that leadership development is one of the largest gaps in organizations today. According to Gallup, only 1 in 10 people naturally possess strong leadership talent. Yet many companies still choose managers primarily based on performance rather than leadership capability. At the same time, research from Harvard Business Review shows that nearly 60% of new managers receive little to no formal leadership training. When we combine these realities, a very predictable leadership challenge begins to emerge. Because of these challenges, organizations frequently say things like, "We need stronger leaders," "We just can't seem to find the right people," or "Leadership talent is difficult to find." And in many ways, those concerns are understandable. Leadership carries enormous responsibility. Leaders are expected to guide people, make difficult decisions, and maintain accountability within the organization. But sometimes the issue isn't simply a shortage of leaders. Sometimes it's something deeper. In many organizations, a very common pattern begins to appear. A strong performer emerges. Someone reliable, someone capable, someone who consistently delivers results. This person becomes someone the organization trusts. And naturally, that individual becomes the next candidate for promotion. But when someone moves from an individual contributor role into leadership, everything changes. Suddenly, they must manage people, expectations, conflict, accountability, and complex communication dynamics. These are not the same skills that made them successful as an individual performer. Leadership requires an entirely different set of capabilities. Technical performance and leadership ability are not the same skill set. This is where many organizations unintentionally create a gap. The newly promoted leader is immediately expected to demonstrate confidence, sound judgment, emotional intelligence, and leadership maturity. Yet very little structured development is often provided to help that individual succeed in the role. The expectation rises quickly, but the support to grow into that expectation is often limited. When that new leader begins to struggle, organizations sometimes reach a quick conclusion. They say, "We promoted the wrong person." Confidence begins to fade, both for the new leader and for the organization. And before long, the search for another leader begins again. What this creates is something many organizations unknowingly repeat: the leadership loop. It begins with a high performer. That individual is promoted. Immediate leadership expectations are placed on them. But development support is limited. Struggles begin to appear, and eventually the organization starts searching for another leader. And the cycle quietly repeats itself. But what if the issue isn't a lack of leadership potential? What if the real issue is a lack of intentional leadership development? Leadership capability rarely appears fully formed. It develops gradually through guidance, experience, reflection, support, and tenure. Strong leaders are not simply discovered, they are developed. They grow through coaching, mentorship, accountability, feedback, and intentional growth over time. Development is what transforms potential into leadership capability. Without development, potential often remains unrealized. Organizations that recognize this pattern begin asking a different question. Instead of asking, "Where do we find better leaders?" they begin asking something much more powerful. How do we develop the leaders already within our organization? This shift changes the entire approach to leadership. This philosophy sits at the heart of the Respect Effect. Strong leadership cultures are built through intentional development. They require disciplined communication. They reinforce accountability with respect. And they create structured pathways for leadership growth. In these environments, leadership becomes something organizations cultivate, rather than something they constantly search for. When development becomes the focus, the leadership cycle changes. Instead of promotion followed by struggle and replacement, a different loop begins. Potential is identified. Development begins. Coaching and guidance support the process. Leadership capability grows. Retention improves. And the organization builds a stronger culture. The cycle becomes one of growth rather than replacement. The leader you're searching for may not need to be hired. They may already be part of your organization. The real question becomes simple. Are you developing them?